Hi, I'm David from Next Earth, and this is 26 Questions with David.
Hey there, what's going on, MEXC fans? You have the QR code right here, you have the link down below to sign up with MEXC.com. What will this give you might ask? Well, it will give you 20% off your trading fees, it will give you access to multiple features through which you can diversify your investment portfolio and maximize your income. It will also give you an opportunity to participate in various airdrops, rewards, and giveaways. So go ahead and get started today. Also, don't forget to smash the like button and subscribe for more. Hi David, welcome to the interview. I am glad to have you today. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you so much. How are you?
Likewise. All right, so Next Earth, our community is eager to address their questions to you. They actually been putting them down on Twitter for quite a while, and there are a lot of questions. I wish we could ask all the hundreds of questions that were listed, but unfortunately, the series is 26 questions. So we're gonna nail it down to the top 20 in our opinion, and I'm gonna go ahead and ask you them one by one. If you're ready, we can just jump right in.
Yeah, let's go.
Alrighty, starting off with question number 1. What is the vision and mission of Next Earth, which makes it different from others?
So Next Earth is an Earth-based metaverse platform, right? And we also have a very heavy focus on environmental charity. So instead of just trying to compete with other metaverses, we are actually providing what we like to call a middleware layer through our platform as a service offering. This allows any business on the real Earth to join Next Earth and thus join the metaverse. Our goal is the democratization of the metaverse with true digital ownership by the community, by delivering an economy where users can monetize themselves, create not just value, but also the community-driven content of the metaverse itself, and get appreciated for it. While many metaverses are entirely separate from our physical world, Next Earth aims to merge the two, creating what we call mixed reality experiences and using the power of environmental charity to help and improve our planet.
Very well, very nice. Okay, question number 2. Your project name seems to be very interesting. Does it have any inspiring story behind it, and can you share it with us?
Yeah, actually it does. So last year, a good friend of our co-founder, Gabor Favi, showed him a project called Earth 2. And Gabor fell in love with the concept immediately, but then the platform itself was a bit chaotic. And so he took a deep dive into the background of the project and he was doing his due diligence. If you know Gabor, he does this every time he finds a new project that he falls in love with. And he actually saw that a lot of users were stuck in having similar problems as he did. He felt it was baffling to him why they didn't choose to build the whole platform on the blockchain. So again, he took another deep dive, found some promising people in his network, and the great team came together to create the first Earth-based metaverse on the blockchain. Now, ultimately, we decided to go the full environmental charity route as we wanted to be trendsetters in this regard. And what I like to say is, we have done a lot of damage to Earth as a human species. And I think now we have a chance to heal it through technology, through the next one, hence the name Next Earth.
Okay, outstanding. Now it all makes sense because I was also wondering why the name Next Earth. Okay, great. Question number 3, very, I would say, specific. The grid layer on the map is represented by approximately 10 meter by 10 meter rectangles. All tiles are classified into 3 classes: urban, non-urban, and water. Can you briefly explain to us these 3 classifications of tiles?
Oh yeah, we're doing a deep dive now. It's funny that I was just talking about doing deep dives. So land itself on Next Earth is where businesses in the ecosystem can set up shop and create all kinds of unique experiences for their customers. And this is what the platform as a service offering is for. Just as on the real Earth surface, there are 3 different classes of tiles. The inhabited areas on land, where, for example, cities are located, are called urban land. The uninhabited areas are called non-urban land, and the tiles on the water are, well, let's get it's not going to be surprising, are called water tiles or water land. Like on Earth, water tiles are the most common, right? Remember that we're basically creating a replica of the real Earth. They're the best for what we call yield farming and creating land art. And since there are plentiful and relatively expensive, users will find that about 3/4 of land on Next Earth is actually water tiles. They will also contain some resources in future updates, but a bit more on that later. So non-urban tiles will also contain some resources, but they are much more flexible. They can also be converted into land art, but in the future, you will be able to use it to build structures in the metaverse and launch different kinds of businesses online. Urban tiles then will generally contain fewer resources than non-urban or water tiles, but the benefit of name recognition and very specific use cases. For example, in our upcoming points of interest feature, 80 to 90% of those POIs or points of interest will be located on urban tiles, and they will grant special bonuses to the users that hold them. Unlike the other two types, urban tiles cannot be converted into land art. And that's practically the summary for the 3 land tiles.
Very well. Thank you for that. Question number 4. Talking about the lands that exist on NextEarth, what does it take to own a piece of land on NextEarth?
Yeah, that's a pretty good and important question, obviously. Right now, as of now, at first you need to buy some Matic in order to fund your wallet. NextEarth is running on Polygon. Then you need to withdraw your Matic to your MetaMask or Trust wallet. Again, make sure that your Polygon address for this process, otherwise you might lose your tokens. Now, after this, you can register on our website. Then you choose your wallet type, and after this, you're ready to use the map. Select the tiles you'd like to purchase either from the map directly, where you can just go in and start looking for the kinds of lands that you would like to buy, which is, I must warn you, it is a bit addictive as an activity. So at first I started buying like my own childhood home, my apartment, and then my friends' apartments, and then all of a sudden you just realize that you've been spending the last 2-3 hours looking for people's homes on the NextEarth map. But if you want to go beyond the map, you can also head over to the marketplace and start looking for other lands that have been purchased by others and now are for sale.
Got it. All right, so basically the purchases are actually Matic, they're not in the native NXTT token, right?
For now, yes. The plan long term is to introduce NXTT as a currency to buy land, but for now you can use Matic to buy land.
Got it. Right. That's very cheap. So yes, that's a very good move. Okay, question number 5. From your white paper, it was mentioned users are able to buy pieces of land that can be seen from satellites from Google Earth. What is its purpose in the ecology and environment?
Okay, so one important distinction is that we're not using Google Earth, we're actually using Mapbox. But you can buy land, and land ownership is the basis of our entire metaverse and the services that you can get access to within the metaverse. In a sense, you can treat your virtual land ownership as your avatar in the NextEarth metaverse, which is a bit different. But again, we are challenging the notion of what is a metaverse currently understood by the market and coming at it from an economic perspective, because we believe that if we can give you true digital ownership of your avatar, in a sense, in the metaverse, we're going to be able to avoid recreating the power imbalances that we've seen in Web 2, which is kind of the real battle of the metaverse. Is it going to be same as in Web 2, which like a couple of large companies owning your digital self, or will you have true digital ownership? Now, the interesting thing is we believe that our responsibility is not only to all NextEarth citizens or NextEarthians, as we call them, but also to Earth itself, which is why our plan is for NextEarth is to turn it into a fully operational DAO once the economy is completely up and running. Plus, we are also already donating a large portion of our revenues to selected environmental charities, which can be voted in for the DAO. And we actually plan to expand that charitable share over time. We've already donated over $1 million of our revenues to charities within the last 9 months.
Wow, amazing. Yeah, and thank you for clarifying that it's not actually Google Maps. You said Mapbox, right?
Yeah, it's Mapbox.
Because I also got the impression that it was Google Maps. Okay, cool. Now, question number 6. First of all, the whole idea of owning a virtual Earth is interesting. I want to know how this differs from a regular NFT project. If I purchase a piece of land, will I be able to sell it in fractions as it's not possible in the case of a regular NFT?
Okay, that's a pretty good question. Now, to start with, every tile is a 10 meter by 10 meter rectangle on NextEarth. And you can buy a land that contains one or more tiles. So when you're buying new land, you're selecting a specific number of tiles and you're minting an NFT that contains those tiles. Now, in the future, which is going to be probably later this year, we are going to introduce split and merge functions for your land, where you can actually split your land into multiple different NFTs or merge multiple NFTs into one. And that is kind of solving the fractionalized question that you asked.
Got it. Okay, very well. Is there a possibility of two different NFT creators developing their NFT based on the same piece of virtual land? If this happens, how will the exclusive ownership of that piece of land be kept? And how do the developers get to choose the piece of land they are working with?
Okay, so one tile or one land, one owner. It's pretty simple.
Right. Okay. And can we merge or divide the lands which we purchased earlier? How and when?
Yeah, so this is one of the most frequently asked questions in our community as well. And as I said, split and merge functions are coming a bit later this year. But the Next Earth Land system opens up a number of possible strategies for users to looking to maximize their growth and their assets. So what we are seeing is that even though some of the users want to merge or divide their lands, we're already seeing that at the time of purchase, they're already making those decisions. But the product team is already working on the functionality and is probably coming later this year.
Very well. Okay. And we will drop the links down below so everyone who's watching can follow you on your socials and stay updated and not miss these announcements and many more to come. Cool. Moving on with question number 9. It is known that each NFT card has its value for authenticity. But in addition to that, will there be ratings of limited edition cards and other less attractive cards?
For obvious reasons, land ties that contain things like landmarks contain or command higher attention and therefore higher prices than normal, which I think is pretty trivial, right? You can only buy one Statue of Liberty, for example. But you can also increase the value of your NFT with skins and other forthcoming utilities in the future. These are currently in development, as most features are, as we are a pretty new project. For example, we will have, so regarding skins, we will have two types of skins, inner and outer skins, that will change the appearance of the land itself. But skins also will modify the number of units the land is generating per month. And the number of units you get will give you more or less favorable conditions for you as a user when you want to stake your NXTT, which means that lands will actually have upgrades, and those upgrades will be able to give you basically higher revenue from your land.
Alrighty, all the land would be initially supporting trades, so how would the value of this land increase in the future?
Yeah, so there is the mathematical equation or a mathematical formula that determines land prices based on demand for land in each specific country and the frequencies of that. I think you can find that in our white paper. It's pretty heavy mathematics, but if you have a knack for that, I do recommend that you take a look at that. But also what we're seeing already is that different users follow different strategies in buying land, which means that some people are trying to accumulate as much land as possible. As we know in crypto, there are a lot of whales that are just buying up everything they can. But also some people who are really looking to yield farm, they're following the same strategy. Now, others are also focusing on buying specific types of lands like landmarks or land arts. And I also know a couple people who bought a bunch of castles, who bought a bunch of mines, because the whole resources logic that I mentioned is coming, and we're going to upgrade the land with more and more attributes. And as that happens, the land will have more and more different use cases, different utilities, so your strategies will actually pay off. And this is what our users are following. Basically, they're looking at the land utility in the future based on what kind of use cases will be available on those lands.
Question number 11. I am a holder of small amount of tiles in the platform, and some of the locations I own are prominent locations, but not yet projected on the current version of the map. How often will the map on the platform be updated?
The platform does update the map. It depends on how long ago you purchased it. If you don't see it on the map after a while, you probably don't actually own it. Then I would suggest that you actually take a look whether or not the transaction has actually gone through for some reason, because the area that you purchased will be blocked under your name for a few days. And if there is a failed transaction that gets cleared, the land becomes available for anyone to buy. So if you want to finalize a failed transaction, you would need to go to the My Lands page. Here you can retry with clicking on the purchase once again. And the speed and the success of a transaction also depends on the congestion of the network. So as it happened lately with Polygon a couple of times, I suggest everybody to be patient. Yeah, so the map should be updated. And also as Mapbox updates its global sort of map environment, we are getting all the data from Mapbox. So every time they update, we update. There are two different answers to these questions because technically these are two specific questions.
Yeah, thank you for clarifying that. Okay, question number 12. Could you explain the incentive structure for both users, creators, and collectors using the NXTT token? How do you intend to level the playing field for everyone?
Okay, so this is one thing where we really focused on before we launched NXTT. And the reason is that because, as we said, our goal is not to recreate the power imbalances that was seen in Web 2. So creating equity among users, leveling the playing field is really important for us. Now, NXTT will be available for staking by June this year, and with favorable APRs available through a tiered system. Now, you can get access to different levels of rewards through the units that your land is generating. The more units you have, the more favorable APR you have. In the beginning, one tile is just generating 1 unit, but as I said in a previous question, when skins and other assets are introduced, different lands will be able to generate a different amount of units. And also through our plans to introduce work to earn protocols, we will also allow smallholders to achieve similar yields as large landowners and NXTT holders. So in the next Earth economy, this will be balanced out and everyone will have the same chances to generate revenue. And some of the business transactions will go directly to the decentralized reward pool, which is going to be available to anyone through stake rewards.
Nice. Question number 13. Can you tell us more about the environmental charity that you will be launching? When will it be launched? What will its main purpose be?
Okay, so charity and in general philanthropy is a big thing with us because usually what you see about philanthropy is, and also charity is like business first and then whatever remains, we're just gonna try to do something. Now at Next Earth, I would say business is philanthropy. They've been intricately linked from the beginning to make sure that each one supports the other at every step. For example, our latest collaboration with Sea Turtles is to launch a new game with a specific cause. Like players can purchase land in the metaverse, and then a portion of the proceeds are going towards real-world environmental projects to clean up that land. Now, as I already mentioned, we've also allocated $1 million USD to environmental issues. Next Earth is also committed to increase this amount as we generate more revenues. As I said previously, we're looking at expanding that horizon over time. Now, users can now purchase land on certain territories within the metaverse through this game that we have with 3 Sea Turtles, and basically they will be getting a chance to win $200,000 worth of NXTT or 5 unique NFTs in that game. Now, in every transaction, 20% of the land buying proceeds will go to Sea Turtles directly, who will then use the funds to implement plastic removal projects on the same locations. So we have specific dedicated locations. You buy that land, and the money that we make is going to be spent on basically cleaning up that specific land you bought. Now, also the end game for us, as I already said, is creating a fully DAO-controlled, state-of-the-art self-sustaining platform. In the long term, we'll head into becoming a non-profit organization over time and allocating all of its income outside of the platform operations to environmental charity. The end game of the metaverse is a little more than that, I think. Like the real end game is to make everybody kind of choose this type of direction or narrative and goal as their end game, and really kind of making sure that through the Next Earth, we are able to make a lasting impact, a positive lasting impact on the old one.
Very well. Super. Okay. Will you be implementing VR in your platform?
Everybody's favorite question. I would say yes, definitely. That's the short answer. The long answer is a bit more complicating than that because the entire industry is focusing on the gaming or the VR element of the metaverse. And I personally think that's actually a mistake. First, you need to make sure that the economic structures you're building on, you're using as the foundations are right. Otherwise, you're going to end up giving away your digital ownership to someone else. And as you're looking at other metaverse projects, even in Web 2 or in Web 3, even when you buy an NFT, a lot of projects don't actually give you ownership of the digital asset. They just give you ownership of the certificate itself. Then the actual digital asset is stored in a Web 2 environment. So we need to make sure that the foundations for true digital ownership are there exactly. Every piece of information that you own as a Next Earth landowner about your land is stored on the blockchain. We're not using a Web 2 environment for that. You are having true digital ownership of your NFTs with us. However, we also feel like that with all of this, we're basically at the very early stage of the internet. It's like in the late 90s. And I think in the sort of next 10 to 15 years, we're going to see a completely different metaverse with all sorts of AR and VR and mixed reality experiences totally interconnected. And I think probably the VR technology that we have today is going to be very different from the VR technology that we're going to be having in the next 10 years in the metaverse. But we're constantly following and keeping a close eye on VR solutions because the concept of the metaverse is inseparable from VR. So obviously VR integration is on our future roadmap, and there is also plenty more on the horizon, and VR will be impacting our future roadmap very, very heavily.
Outstanding. Thank you. Question number 15. How can I use NXTT tokens for the Next Earth ecosystem?
Okay, so NXTT is the native currency of the Next Earth metaverse. We launched it on the 27th of January, and the whole purpose of NXTT is to generate business activity on the platform, pay for products and services, and access governance functions within the Next Earth economy. Examples for this are the upcoming features like staking, which is coming in June, or the Launchpad Council, where people can look at the new projects that are being launched on the Next Earth Launchpad and actually vote for some of the projects that they would like to see, expanding our DAO capabilities slowly. So I would say that the first and foremost logical use cases would be staking and governance. And then as we develop the NXTT infrastructure, which is a backend heavy development, we will also introduce payment solutions and the ability to buy and sell services and land and products within the Next Earth metaverse with NXTT.
Question number 16. Can you tell me if there's a difference between the Swap MetaMask NXTT token in Matic and Swap and Uniswap 3 NXTT token in Matic?
That's a more generic question that could probably be answered for any of the other tokens out there. So the way MetaMask Swap works is that it uses aggregators to get all DEXs that have, in this case, an NXTT Matic pair listed, and it gives you an offer. And then basically it looks for the best offer that it can get. Now, this also includes Uniswap 3, right? But it is also not limited to it. What's important is to know that anybody can list tokens on DEXs, which means that MetaMask might pull in data from those DEXs that have no liquidity for an NXTT Matic pair, which is why I always recommend that if you want to use a DEX, make sure Uniswap 3 before we got listed on a centralized exchange, because now this question is a whole lot easier to answer. Just go on the exchange and that's where you can buy and sell your token.
Exactly. Yep, thank you for taking an extra mile and explaining this generic question. Question number 17, why did Next Earth choose to partner with MEXC?
We've been very strategic with the design and the timing of the milestones for the token. So after 2 months issuing the token, this was the perfect time for us to introduce NXTT to the global crypto community. And as being one of the biggest crypto exchanges, MEXC is basically the perfect partner for us to do that. Also, MEXC is a user-friendly digital asset service provider. So the listing itself provides a great opportunity for Next Earthians, not just to trade NXTT tokens, but also through the trading to sort of increase the exposure and the visibility of the token and attract more token holders into the economy. And as we're starting to onboard new business partners and service providers into the Next Earth ecosystem pretty soon, we are also expecting an influx of new NXTT token holders and landowners who will come not because they want to join the metaverse, but they will come because they want to use the services that are available on the platform itself. And MEXC provides the perfect partnership opportunity for us in order to make it easy for our future users to join us.
And we are glad to have you on MEXC as well. Yes, thank you for joining. Question number 18, what impact will the purchase of Next Earth land on the NXTT have in the future? And can we expect collaboration with other metaverses?
Okay, this is one of my favorite topics. So in Next Earth, we have two kinds of assets, land and NXTT, right? Land is a productive asset, NXTT is a monetary asset. We're recreating the entire economy. For example, our staking feature, which is going to be expected for rollout in June, it's a prime example of how these two connect to each other. Land is used to get the ability to stake NXTT through the generation of what we call staking wallets. But you need NXTT itself to get the APR. So you need both assets in order to unlock the rewards. As for collaboration with other metaverses, the answer is a resounding yes. Web3 in general has what I call the middleware layer problem. And through our platform as a service model, we're aiming to solve that, which means that right now, figuring out use cases, building solutions and businesses in the metaverse is hard, complicated, and expensive. And with a proper middleware layer like the Next Earth platform as a service, it will be as easy as launching a software as a service business in Web 2. So we're planning to make ourselves interoperable with other metaverses too, so we can also sort of empower their businesses through this middleware layer, offering them the same capabilities. Just when you think of Next Earth, and you will see this when we start rolling out our API suite, it's going to be basically like what Google App Engine did in Web 2. Like before Google App Engine, it was a lot harder, at least by an order of magnitude, to actually develop and create new apps. You would need hundreds of thousands of dollars to create prototypes and MVPs. I remember doing those. But then after the App Engine came about, combined with the Google Cloud Service, it became really simple and easy to launch new software as a service products. That's exactly what we're expecting from Next Earth. With that, we're also expecting to give that capability to other metaverses in the future as well.
All right. Question number 19, where can I buy NXTT and what is the current price? What do you think? Am I too late to buy?
Okay, so obviously you can buy NXTT on MEXC, right? And it doesn't really matter what I'm going to say about the current price. By the time you watch the video, it's going to be different, but the NXTT price has been performing quite well ever since the token launch on the 27th of January. But I would say there is a great buying opportunity right now, because we're still very early. NXTT is less than 3 months old. The whole Next Earth project is less than a year old. And we're about to start rolling out features in the next few quarters that will bring immense utility to both our lands and our tokens. So I'd say right now, as a new NXTT holder, you will be way ahead of the curve.
Yeah, and I can attest to that because per visiting your website, I saw a short clip of your CMO, if I'm not mistaken. And he also confirmed that if you're watching this video, that means you're very early. Question number 20, the last one for today. Where do you see Next Earth in a year?
In a year, I see Next Earth being a fully operational platform as a service model, fully operational API suite that serves as the middleware layer in the metaverse, with hundreds of businesses operating and joining within the Next Earth ecosystem, and all those businesses are built on our API suite. In the background, we're working out partnerships that will bring hundreds or thousands of new landowners and NXTT holders into the ecosystem through utility. And once we start rolling them out, the image about Next Earth will change completely. And I think the next year, we should get to the point when a couple of these like high leverage partnerships are already live, and the utility of both Next Earth land and the Next Earth token become absolutely clear.
Fantastic. Okay, David, so that wraps it up for the 20 questions from the community to you. Guys, if you saw your question on the screen, that means you're one of the lucky winners. And hey, you can claim your reward by following the instructions down in the description box. David, it is your turn now to address your 6 questions back to the community so they can do their research, comment down below, and if their answer is correct, well, then we will give out additional rewards. Whenever you're ready, please go ahead.
Okay, here goes nothing. So, what's the name of the token? When was the token launched? How many landowners are there currently? What blockchain is NextEarth running on? When does staking start? And which exchange listing was the first for our token?
Splendid. Guys, go ahead, do your research, put the answers down below. We will verify if the answer is correct and you will be able to earn additional rewards. That wraps it up for today. Don't forget to subscribe, smash the like button, and we hope to see you next time. David, thank you so much for coming over, explaining what NextEarth is. Super exciting, love the concept. It's very interesting, would want to dive in myself and explore further. And hopefully somewhere down the road in the future, we will reconnect with you and track your progress and celebrate.
Definitely. Thank you so much.
Have a good one.
You too. Bye-bye.